Welcome to another episode of Consumer Protection and You with Ryan Lippe. Ryan Lippe is a consumer educator with the State of Ohio Attorney General's Office, Dave Yost. And today we're going to be looking at questions that people have been asking us about. So stay tuned. Welcome to another episode of Consumer Protection and You with Ryan Lippe. Ryan Lippe is a consumer educator with the State of Ohio Attorney General's Office, Dave Yost. But we have sort of an interesting program today, Ryan. It seems that we've had someone ask about they're ready to buy a used car. What are some possible tips?
Yeah, the good news is we've got a publication that helps us out with that. It's on the ohioattorneygeneral.gov website, and it's called the Used Car Buyer Checklist. So let's take a pause and we'll go to the main website, and I'll show all of the viewers where to get the publication if they are in the market or know anyone who's in the market for a used car. It helps you choose the dealership and choose the car that's right for you. So let's go to the web. We are now on the main Attorney General's webpage at ohioattorneygeneral.gov. Good news is this fact sheet, this checklist for used car buyers is very simple to get to. All you have to do is go under Publications, click on Publications in the top black bar, right where my cursor is. So go to Publications. And then it asks whether you want to look for forms, reports, or publications. So again, you want to click on the little megaphone there for publications. And then you want to go to Consumer Quick Tips. That is where we have some of our shorter publications. And since this checklist is just one card, front and back, full of tips and information, you want to click on Consumer Quick Tips and go to the used car buyer checklist. It's alphabetical, so last on the list is the used car buyer checklist. So click that and it'll load right up for you. So that is the Ohio Attorney General's Office, Consumer Protection Section, used car buyer checklist. And it has just a lot of really good information, and it starts with, are you choosing the right dealer? You know, if you have a bad experience, you may have chosen the wrong car, you may have paid the wrong price, you may be buying a lot of problems. So the first step is save yourself some money and aggravation down the road. And when you're purchasing a used car, find the right dealership for you. And that is where you can go to the Ohio Attorney General's Office, our website, and you can go through the Better Business Bureau at bbb.org. And you can do some internet searches for the name of the dealership you are considering to figure out what letter grade does the Better Business Bureau give it. Have we gotten any complaints at the Attorney General's Office against that dealership? Have we sued that dealership? Have we gotten a judgment against that dealership? All that information can be found through the consumer parts of ohioattorneygeneral.gov. And then again, betterbusinessbureau.org or bbb.org is your source as well for that information through that nonprofit. And then just internet searches, doing a short search for the name of the company along with words complaint or scam or review. Can get you some good information about where you might want to get a car.
There are many ways that you can purchase a car. And when you're talking about a dealership, you're talking about an actual GMC, Ford, Chrysler dealership. But we also have those businesses that are not affiliated with a specific model. Are you considering those dealerships also?
Yes, absolutely. You know, some of them may be short-term in nature. I mean, there are some fly-by-night dealerships out there, but there's also mom and pop dealerships that have been around for decades in all of our communities. So I would say, yes, the new and used car dealers is certainly one source to buy a used car from, but you also want to consider all the other smaller dealers out there that don't specialize in one make or model. Those general used car lots are good sources of trying to find the right car at the right dealer as well.
There's a lot of jokes going around about used car dealers. The salesmen there are manipulative and try to do everything they possibly can to sell you a bad vehicle. Has that been your experience?
It depends. It depends. We have an awful lot of customers that come to us about used cars and having questions or a complaint, or maybe they don't get their title within 40 days, which is when by law they have to give you the title to your used vehicle. So I usually do see the problems, but obviously people that have no problems at all aren't really going to report much to us. We only get the complaints. So I would say that most dealers are going to be honorable and most dealers are going to be respectable. But again, does that mean you're not going to feel pressure from a salesperson? Does that mean they're not going to try the best they can to get you in a car that day? I think they absolutely will. And, some dealerships probably put more pressure on their sales folks than other dealerships. And that's why you want to go start with, are you choosing a reputable dealer first before you even consider issues in terms of whether the car is in good condition, knowing the car's history, and the various other topics we're going to talk about during the segment today.
Are most complaints that do they deal with a used vehicle that is really needing a lot of repairs, or are you talking about the money aspect of you're paying too much for a vehicle?
Well, when it comes to getting your title on time, the dealership has failed to give me my title within 40 days, and I want to, for example, reverse the transaction, get my money back, and return the vehicle. That actually can be done through what we call the Title Defect Rescission Fund. That's a fancy name, but it simply means that if you don't get your title on time, you may be able to actually get your money back for the vehicle and have to return the vehicle and reverse the transaction. But we see a lot of different types of complaints under motor vehicles. It is our number one complaint category in the state of Ohio at the Attorney General's office is motor vehicles. So it could be everything from a new car and maybe a lemon law issue to a used car with maybe a car having more problems than what you thought you were promised. But a lot of used cars are sold as is with no warranty. So it's very important for people to really take heed to the advice we give them in this checklist. Do the right thing so you don't regret your purchase down the road.
So if I purchase a car with no warranty and all of a sudden the engine falls out, I'm responsible for that. Is that correct?
That's pretty much correct. If it's as is with no warranty, whatever car's problems you have now inherited. And there's not any automatic right to return the car in 7 days or 30 days because you don't like it or you took it to a mechanic and that said it needed some parts. You need to do the responsible thing for yourself, have your guard up at all times, and to get an extended test drive of that vehicle. Take it to an independent mechanic. Do those types of steps that we outline in the checklist to put your needs first and to make sure you're choosing the right car for the right price. And so extended test drives are definitely recommended. You definitely don't want to buy a car sight unseen. Believe it or not, there are folks out there that are convinced to put a deposit down on a car that they haven't seen in person. And unfortunately, some of those are scam artists putting photos of too good to be true vehicles on marketplace websites and bulletin boards and things like that. And they convince the consumer that they'll take down the ad and promise them the vehicle if they just give them a $300 gift card or a $500 gift card. That is a recipe for being scammed. So you definitely don't want to buy a car or put money down on a car unless you've seen it, run it, taken it on an extended test drive, and had an independent mechanic look at the car from head to toe.
Suppose I want to buy a car from an individual.
Usually, the dealerships are the ones that have to give you the title within 40 days. I mean, typically, if you're buying it from a private individual, you'll get the title right away with no problem. But sometimes dealerships are allowed to sell cars that they don't yet have the title physically in their hands. And so sometimes that handoff is a problem, or something goes wrong and they never receive the title. And therefore, the consumer is left without a title. And as you and I both know, a title is what gives you the vehicle. I mean, that's what declares ownership of the motor vehicle. That is your proof that that vehicle is owned by you. So you definitely want that title on time. And when you are buying from an individual, not a dealer, you want to make sure that you go through the checklist and use all the same precautions and all the same work that you would normally do with a dealer. I guess you do have to be extra careful because there are folks out there that just try to scam. But, at dealerships, just because you choose a dealership doesn't inherently mean it's going to be a better transaction. You may deal with a lot of honest individuals that just want to get rid of a car because they've bought a newer vehicle and just honestly want to get more for the car than they're able to get from a wholesale price that's offered to them on the trade-in. So you can find good deals sometimes through individual sellers, and you can find good deals sometimes at dealerships. And so that's where you want to make sure that you get the car that's in acceptable condition. You want to know the car's history. You want to make sure you're getting a fair price, and you want to make sure that you have a sales contract if you buy at a dealership that outlines all of their responsibilities and any promises they've given you through that transaction. If if they're going to give you free car washes for 20 years, if they're going to give you a maintenance agreement, if they're going to give you oil changes for the life of the car, don't know if those are possible benefits at this point, but if you're promised something, get it in writing. And that holds true, especially with small and large dealerships. They know what a sales contract looks like. They have a lot of experience usually with people wanting everything reduced to writing so that they have some paperwork, and they create a paper trail for that, any guarantees that they're giving the customer.
Let's suppose I know that my engine's going to fall out at any time, and I try to sell it to a dealer. Am I responsible if they agree to take it?
Well, that depends. We really can't give legal advice. That's more of a legal question. But I do want to remark that they're going to take a look. They're going to inspect the car fully as well, just like you should inspect their car fully. So are there customers that may know their car has a problem and they want to get it off their hands? Sure. And that's one really good reason why you want to make sure to have an independent mechanic look at any car you're about to buy, because someone may be trying to unload a car that has nothing but problems for them. That's certainly one reason why we want to transition from one vehicle to the next vehicle.
So a little bit ago, you were mentioning about finding out about the car's history. Is it required by law that if something happens to the car, that it has to be attached to the history of that car?
I wouldn't say it's exactly federal law, but there's a lot you can learn through the vehicle identification number. Now, when you go to a dealer, especially a dealer that sells new cars of that make and model, A lot of times they will put information in databases and in their own, certainly in their own computer system, that may have information about what work they've done on the car. But the first thing is first, you want to make sure you get the vehicle you're interested in's identification number, the VIN, vehicle identification number. You can use that information to your advantage. It's a long number of letters and numbers, and there's a unique one for every car in the United States. So you want to make sure to use that VIN number. You can research the car owner. You can research the most recent odometer reading and other facts at a website. The one highlighted in the card I'm showing you, www.vehiclehistory.gov. So since it's a .gov, we know it's a federal website. So that is your website to research who owns the car and some other information that you can get through vehiclehistory.gov. Another thing you can do with the VIN number is check on issues such as flood damage through the National Insurance Crime Bureau. And that's www.nicb.org. So that's National Insurance Crime Bureau, nicb.org. And so that may have some very interesting information on some cars, may not have much information on other cars, but that is another resource for you to find out if the car has been totaled out due to a flood claim through an insurance company. And some people want to stay away from those cars because they, even if they've been rebuilt to certain standards, they simply don't want to inherit whatever problems may be internal in that vehicle's. Another thing you can do is, if you're buying at a dealer, review all the service records. A lot of times when the used car is traded in for a new car or another used car, the mechanics at the dealership will do some work on the vehicle to improve it and to make sure that things that they know are broken are fixed. So review all the service records, including the work the dealer has performed since buying the car, and obtain copies for your records. So you have that ability to ask the dealer right then and there if they have paperwork on what's been done to the car, what still needs to be done to the car. Doesn't replace the fact that I want you to take it to an independent mechanic to look at it. Look at the whole car using an independent mechanic that doesn't have a stake in it. It may cost you a little bit of money, but it's probably worth your time and effort and money to have an independent mechanic look at the car, and including, including, of course, the dealership. But you want to make sure the dealer is going to want to sell the car. You want an independent mechanic to give you a fair shake on what's right and what's wrong with the car, so you know what you're getting into.
We have a car dealership that I'm aware of that sells new cars, but they were demos. And I guess they use those demos. For instance, if my car had to be in the shop for 3 or 4 days, they would give me a lender, but they called it a demo. But they also said it was a new car. Even though it has 300, 400 miles on it, is it considered a new car?
Well, I think that depends. I mean, there are sometimes certified used cars at dealerships where they meet some type of manufacturer standard when they've looked at the car from head to toe and felt that it was in such good shape that it meets the qualifications for a certified used car based on the manufacturer. If a car is a demo, if a car has been used to some extent for people needing rides, if they're getting body work done, things like that, you need to ask those questions and get that information disclosed to you. I mean, if you see a new car and it's got significant miles on it, maybe 1,000 miles, 2,000 miles, ask what it's been used for. Get any records, get any problems the car has had. But one way to try to find a deal sometimes is to get a new car that's been used as a demo or as a test drive model, or maybe at the body shop or at the vehicle service counter as a vehicle for customers to drive while their vehicle's being serviced on. It's not necessarily a bad thing. You just need to know the miles, why it's had those miles, what it's been doing, and the condition of the vehicle. And again, nothing replaces that independent mechanic, the extended test drive, and the various other consumer protections that we recommend in the guidelines in the used car buyer checklist.
So let's suppose I purchase a new car and I drive it home, and for one reason or another, there's a major screech coming from the engine. Do I have the right to take it back and say, hey, this is a lemon of a car, I want my money back?
Well, you can try that, but there's no guarantee it's going to be successful, because there is no law saying that you inherently have the right to get your money back if the car happens to have a problem that you and the dealer nobody knew about, and all of a sudden the car, once you drive off the lot with an as-is, no warranty vehicle, we try to encourage consumers to do due diligence so that they choose the right car and it doesn't happen. But if it does, you certainly have the right to protest. You have the right to go back to the dealer and let them know what's wrong with the vehicle, but it doesn't mean they're going to give you all your money back. That's a much different case, and that's not the law. When you want all your money back, but again, look at what the manufacturer's warranty is. Look at the dealer warranties, if they have any kind of warranty that they're giving you on a used car. But again, a lot of used cars are sold with no warranty, but sometimes there will be a condition that they will put on a car that they're confident in. Maybe they'll give you 30 days or give you a year warranty, or maybe if it's a newer used car, it may still have the manufacturer's warranty attached to it, which certainly can apply to future owners. So there's another ball in your corner, I guess you could say, is that you still have a manufacturer's warranty if you buy a new enough vehicle that it still falls under the original warranty.
Speaking of warranties, I'm getting a lot of advertisement through the email and through the phone that because my car is an older car, I should get a warranty. Are these good?
Well, we can't really make a decision about whether to buy a warranty or a service contract. But I will tell you that you need to be careful, and you need to really do your homework before you buy into a third-party service contract, especially because some consumers have complaints. If you look online, you may see that sometimes it doesn't pan out in the customer's favor when they buy a warranty or a sales or an extended service contract and pay hundreds or thousands of dollars for it, and then come to find out that in the details it may not cover problems that the car has that they think may have, they're just not sure when they buy the service contract what they're actually getting covered through that service contract. So it's important to know all the details of what it will cover, but just as importantly, what it won't cover if you're getting an extended service contract from either a dealership or through a third party at the dealership, or even on your own. I mean, there's commercials that are playing probably as I speak around the country about different extended warranty and extended service contract plans out there. You want to read all the reviews, you want to do your homework before you buy one of those. It's not as easy as just putting money down and having complete peace of mind. You got to look at the details. You got to find out what is and is not covered.
Has it been your experience to purchase a new car every 2 or 3 years? Or is it better to let the cars run its course?
Well, some people do enjoy putting lots of miles on their vehicles. It's certainly a way that you might be able to save money if the car is reliable and doesn't have major problems. Cars now, gone are the days when a car is done at 100,000 miles. There's a lot of more reliability factors that are better for the cars that they make these days. Cars can last a lot longer than 100,000 miles, but it's really a consumer's own decision to make as to whether they want to buy a new car every few years, whether they want to buy a new used car every few years, whether they want to just make sure that the car is kept up with proper maintenance and run its course, and run it till there's no life left in the engine and the transmission. That's really up to the consumer. But no matter what, we are here at the Attorney General's office to give some guidance through our checklist. And just as importantly, we do have an informal dispute resolution process. I mentioned that motor vehicles is the #1 complaint category. Well, you can call our office at 800-282-0515, or simply go to ohioattorneygeneral.gov or ohioprotects.org and register a complaint. If there's something that you can't work out with the dealer, you can file a complaint through our office, and we can get you involved, hopefully, in our informal dispute resolution process. Again, we cannot be your lawyer. We can't give legal advice. We can't go to court for you, although we have sued dealerships before. It's not on behalf of just one person for one vehicle. Typically it would be a pattern of unfair business practices that we would sue for based on violations of the Consumer Sales Practices Act or other state laws. But we can get people involved in our informal process and hopefully try to make sure that the business understands their point of view and vice versa.
How do I get in touch with the Consumer Protection Agency?
Well, our consumer protection section is available toll free at our phone number, 800-282-0515, and through our website. The Consumer Protection Section's website is www.ohioprotects.org. Or you can always go to the big Attorney General's website for the state of Ohio, www.ohioattorneygeneral.gov. Those are your ways to get the used car buyer checklist. You can always pull it up on our website. We can mail one out through our help center, and we can give you solid footing when you go into a dealership or try to get a transaction done for a used car.
And it's my understanding that you and some of your other educators go out into the community to give presentations.
Absolutely. There's one presentation that I can particularly recommend if you're interested in shopping smart, and it is simply called Shop Smart, Know Your Rights. That's a presentation we give all across the state, in addition to talking about scams and identity theft and cybersecurity and all the other topics I talk about on your program. We do have a Shop Smart, Know Your Rights presentation available to groups. So if you want an in-person presentation, we'd like you to have at least 20 attendees. And you can give us a call toll free or let us know through the web what your request is. Or you can have a virtual presentation, which doesn't have a minimum number of attendees. We can do a virtual presentation to let you know all about your consumer rights and teach you some really basic tips on how to shop smart. A lot of people might tell you that it's just conventional wisdom. Well, you know what? It's not so conventional. All of us need to know tips, especially in this day and age where gone are the days where you could seal a deal on a handshake and not have a contract. You got to watch out. You got to put your guard up. You got to be skeptical, and you got to make sure that you don't fall for some of those scams out there.
Hey, we're talking with Ryan Lippe. Ryan Lippe is a consumer educator with the State of Ohio Attorney General's office, Dave Yost. Ryan, thank you.
Thank you. Be smart out there and stay safe.